Thank you for downloading episode 17 of the Metroparks podcast. I am Lorenzo. Matt is back after a week off.
Lucky number 16.
No, 17. I just said it.
I don't feel like it's like I wasn't at that one.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't count to me about being lucky.
Matt, thanks for coming back, man.
Yeah, thanks
I wasn't sure if you were going to come back or not.
Yeah, well, I was on suspension.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is fine. We don't need to talk about the details of that. But here I am. I'm glad to be back. Great show, though in my absence. I'm always hoping that they're terrible, to be honest, because I'm a petty small person. But it was great.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, totally. And we've got an awesome one ahead of us here today, so I'm excited about it. I met this kid really out on the trails and at his onboarding. So I don't know if you obviously you probably participated in this. I was not. We have onboarding. If you're a new employee, you get to meet sort of all the department heads, and we talked a little bit about Metroparks, our vision, what we're doing, and how these things are all interconnected. So passionate kid about birding, passionate kid about conservation. So it'd be interesting to see how this unfolds.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm. It's our second birding podcast, but there's so much information out there. We could have a lot, and we'd always hear something new.
Yeah, and I think how people get to it too, in terms of it being such a passionate thing, is interesting. And plus, Steve and Joe were so boring. So I think
they were the worst.
And so the timing is good too. So we're about to ramp up into bird season here, or we'll find out more about that when we get to Nate.
Yeah. I know the season is changing.
Yeah.
The weather's getting better. I know I spent the past few weeks at Oak Openings helping the new window of wildlife.
Pretty cool,
so
right?
That should be done by the end of the month, and people can check that out. But there was so many people in the parking lot.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, it's you're no stranger to this, being a Northwest Ohio resident for a long period of time, but it's hot and cold, and then for a while 40 feels tropical, and then you get a couple 60, 70-degree days, and it goes back to 6. So we got a ways to go, too. I think I want to talk a little bit about that seasonality with Nate, but May, we're in it till May, so try not to get too excited.
Yeah.
We've had snow on opening day, which is like the first week of April, I think, for the last 2 or 3 years, maybe. So great day today, though. Sun's out. We've got a great guest, and I'm excited to get to it.
Yeah. So we'll stop our jabbering and get right to it.
All right.
We'll be right back with our guest, Nate Kozicki. And we're back with our guest this week, Nate Kozicki, birder and naturalist. Nate, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Well, honor's generous. Nate Kozicki. Lorenzo's been practicing your name for the last 2 weeks, so this is great. We're already off to a great start.
Yeah, sometimes I have to memorize it too.
Sure, good for you. Yeah, and that's been largely successful for you.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah, I've done well with it.
Yeah, my man, Nate. So it is. I hope that you're going to tell us this is timely from a birding perspective, but I've got a lot of questions to ask you. You are a Metroparks seasonal. Is that correct?
I am. Yes. So last summer I was at Farnsworth Metropark doing maintenance. I really enjoyed it, and so I'm staying with the Metroparks this year. I will be a natural resources conservation assistant out near Pearson.
Wonderful.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, great to hear. So, give us a little bit of what does it mean to be a seasonal? When do you come on? I'm sure not a lot of people know that we do have a seasonal staff, although it's probably intuitive to some, right? We ramp up in terms of not only activities, but the weather turns nice. Well, I guess this time of year it turns nice, then turns terrible, then turns nice again. But
we're still waiting on winter too.
Yeah. Oh, sure. 100%. The last snow, I think the last frost warning is pulled Mother's Day weekend, so it's the second weekend in May before you can plant any plants.
Okay.
So that's the end of the show. How about that for an education?
Oh my! That's all you.
That's it. I'm all in.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not the guest, so no one asked me here for information.
Mm-hmm.
Nate, back to you. Sorry. So you're a seasonal. When does that start? What's the process of interviewing? Talk to us a little bit about that.
My season will start sometime in late May with Pearson. Before that, I'll be at Farnsworth a little bit, doing some maintenance work up until that position starts in May. Most of the positions open up typically in late January, early February, and so I applied for the Natural Resources Conservation Assistant.
Great.
Managed to get it, and I am really looking forward to it because I'll be working outside.
Yeah.
I really, besides birds will always be my number one, but I've really kind of grown accustomed to learning about different plant identifications and other insects. So doing hands-on work out in places like Pearson or Howard Marsh are going to be really enjoyable because A, I'll be seeing some birds out there, and B, I'll be learning about different invasive plants and how to manage them.
Sure, cool. So, Nate, this will be your second season. Talk to me a little bit. Where are you from? And are you from Lucas County? Or did you go to school here? What's your background?
I am homegrown in Toledo, so
Okay.
I've lived here pretty much my entire life.
Right.
I went to St. John's Jesuit.
Okay.
Graduated in 2018, and I'm currently a junior at.
Has St. John's ever beaten Perrysburg in football, Lorenzo?
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm sure they have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Did
Sorry.
you play football?
Yeah.
Say again?
Did you play football?
No, I played hockey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, so I graduated there in 2018, and now I'm a junior at UT studying environmental studies.
How about that? Okay, so St. John's so you've stayed a homegrown kid, stayed around Northwest Ohio for that. So lucky us. And you might have mentioned this, pardon me, but you're studying what in school again?
Environmental studies?
Environmental studies.
Yes.
Okay. So I guess a couple of quick things. One of the things is you're almost rabid about birds, so we definitely want to dedicate enough time to that.
Yeah.
I mean, he walked in with binoculars.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Just got to check out the bird feeders.
Yeah, it was hard for him to find the manor house without them. So, Nate, birding and outdoors, that is not necessarily like every kid's passion. So you're a hockey player. How did you get in the outdoors? Have you always been outside? Are your parents outdoors people? Do you camp?
Well,
what's wrong with you, Nate? That's what we want.
I'm still trying to figure that out too.
Yeah,
But
it's a long shot.
It actually all started when I started coming to the Metroparks, and I've been coming here my whole life. I unofficially started birding when I was 6 years old. I loved cardinals, loved the color red, and I would see a lot of those at places like Swan Creek and Sidecut. And my mom would take my brothers and I there. And
how do you start officially
well,
being a birder?
I guess
Do you get a
badge?
Yeah, or a tote bag or something.
I guess it's when you get your first pair of binoculars. And,
There you go. All right, I'll take that. Yeah, my man.
So when I really got into it when I was about 9 years old, when my grandfather took me to McGee Marsh Wildlife
Sure.
Area for the first time, and
Yeah.
I saw a bird called the snowy egret, which on my field guide I had at the time, they have these range maps which tell you where birds are specific times of the year. Snowy egret wasn't anywhere on that range map for Northwest Ohio.
Okay.
So I immediately thought to myself, okay, this place must be special. And
Yeah.
so that really got me just floored into birding.
Sure.
So
How old were you when you experienced that? Pardon me, did you say 9?
I was 9 at that time.
Yeah. And so, but your grandfather was an avid birder, or this is just something you both consumed because you were outdoors together?
Well, my grandfather, he wasn't a birder, but he was always into the outdoors. And
Cool.
I had a great grandfather. He would always appreciate the passions of each of his grandkids. So he'd talk about roller coasters with my brother, football with my other brother, and
My
birding
grandfather
with
was
me.
exactly the same way, with the exception that all of our hobbies had to be able to be consumed at Raceway Park. So
Then he was on your level.
Then he was 100% supportive.
Yeah.
If I could do it, while gambling on horses, then he was very supportive and willing to provide transportation, which was nice.
Plus, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a great experience. Our avid listeners, which are 3 or 4, have heard Lorenzo and I talk about this. So I had a similar relationship with my grandfather in the park we're sitting in. So that's near and dear to me.
Is there a park that growing up that you went to more than
good
any
question.
other?
Or like your park.
My park, well, I'm closer to Swan Creek,
Okay.
and so I'll go there whenever I can. But Sidecut was the big one for me. One thing that really got me interested in the birds was the fact that there's birds in different habitats. Like at Swan Creek, it's mostly woodlands, and there's the creek there too. But at Sidecut, you have the river habitats, and that's going to bring birds like great blue herons. When I was younger, I thought they looked like pterodactyls, and other birds like bald eagles and osprey. Different habitats have different bird species, and it's all really interesting. And as a little kid, that's what really another thing that kind of pushed me to kind of delve deeper into learning about these birds.
Is this something you typically would do by yourself, or do you have like a group of friends that you like to go out with?
It all
A
depends.
little kid, a 9-year-old with a field guide, I think that probably sends you into a life of solitude. So, I mean, either by choice or chosen for you? Go ahead, Nate. It's a legitimate question.
Well, I typically do a lot on my own.
I bet.
I don't. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Lorenzo's the only friend I have. Said I had to dupe him into doing this podcast, so we're with you, brother.
Yeah, well, yeah, I do a lot on my own, and that's kind of where I really kind of grew my passion.
Yeah.
Just learning things on my own, having a lot of overdue field guides from the libraries and just learning all about exploration. Yeah, and but the thing about that is the young birding community is really growing.
I want to talk about that too, but please go ahead. I'm interested in visiting that for sure.
Yeah, so I believe it's 2006, Black Swamp Bird Observatory, which is stationed out in Oak Harbor. They started along with
a globally recognized institution.
Yeah, it's amazing. Outstanding. They teach me so much. I mean, they're my second family over there, really.
Sure.
They started the Ohio Young Birders Club in 2006, and that has spread to different chapters throughout the state of Ohio. So there's a Northwest, there's a Cleveland area, Southwest, one near Columbus, and another one in southeastern Ohio. And they have really brought birding to the younger generations. They've done an outstanding job of getting kids involved in science and involved in birding,
and thusly caring about the ecosystem that they live around.
Exactly.
Sure.
And that archetype has really spread to other states. Other states are taking that model of what the Ohio Young Birders Club has done, and they're transitioning it into their own little clubs in their states, and it's really growing. It really is.
This will, for us, so close to the flame, this is obvious, but can you give us a little bit of insight for those that are listening that may not know? Why is Ohio or Northwest Ohio such an epicenter for this activity?
This is my favorite thing to talk about, I'll tell you. So,
thank God you seemed like such a dull before.
So basically, Northwest Ohio, there's a few different things that really set it apart from other areas. First of all, the big thing that draws birders here is the migration, and it all starts down in South America and southern Mexico. So what will happen is when the day length begins to change in late March and early April, the birds, they will undergo this migratory restlessness, and the German term is called Zugunru.
I told you.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
And so what will happen is these birds will begin to push north in all different directions, and there's three essential ways in which these birds get from the tip of South America all the way into the continental United States. Some will fly around the Gulf to the west by the mountain ranges there. Others will island hop from places in Venezuela to the Caribbean onto the coast of Florida, then move north. And then others, they have the audacity to fly right over the Gulf, which is an 18-hour flight for these species.
What? And they weigh what?
They weigh anywhere
Ounces.
from half of an ounce to an ounce.
Yeah.
So it's really
It's
spectacular.
No kidding.
That's an 18-hour flight, and some will continue inland until they find better habitat. So when these birds are all congregated in the southeastern United States, some birds are flying northwest to places like Alaska. Some birds are flying into eastern Canada.
Yeah.
Some are staying local in the Ohio area.
Yeah.
But when that happens, we have birds that are essentially intersecting here at Lake Erie. So they're all crossing each other right here. And we have some amazing stopover habitat along the lake at places like McGee Marsh Wildlife Area, Maumee Bay State Park, Otto National Wildlife Refuge. And those attractions bring an estimated 90,000 visitors.
It's amazing.
To the area locally every year.
Stop you just for a second.
Sure.
So other than what is exhaustion, the stopover is a respite, but what happens during that time and how long do they stop over, Nate?
It all really depends. A lot of it depends on the weather situations. Birds like to fly north with the wind to their tails. So if there's a south wind, the birds will eventually push over the lake, and that's why the stopover habitat is so important, because the lake is essentially a migratory barrier, which these birds probably won't go over until they're ready to do so from refueling, and so they'll drop
rest and refueling to be able to make that leap.
They have to.
That's what makes Howard Marsh was such a significant.
Yes, Howard Marsh is an outstanding spot. Howard Marsh has been here for, I believe, 2 or 3 years, and there's already species that rarely breed in Ohio that breed there. There's the black-necked stilt, which is a species of shorebird. Yep. They've been breeding there since the beginning. Mm-hmm. Yellow-headed blackbird, that's another western species of blackbird. They're there. Each summer, I believe, at least for the past 2 summers, birds like Wilson's phalaropes, they're there in the summer. So it's really spectacular what these restoration projects can do, and it's great that Metroparks
and it's unique also
in
because of the beaching birds, right? Can you talk a little bit in that space?
Say again.
Well, it's possible you might have to edit this if it's inaccurate. Part of my understanding is one of the levels of sophistication there is us being able to draw down on the water.
Right.
That it allows a unique opportunity for beach.
It does, shorebirds.
Pardon me, shorebirds.
Yeah, that's
So
the
up
thing
to
about
that minute,
shorebirds.
I'm good up into that minute.
Well, it is kind of a misnomer because most shorebirds, so you're right. You're right in a form.
Okay,
So
yeah.
most shorebirds,
off
they
the
actually they
Don't listen
prefer
to
these mud flats.
Yeah.
So when you can draw down these marshes, you can supply some habitat for these shorebirds passing through in late spring and fall.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
All right.
outstanding.
That's kind of what I said.
Yeah. I know what you meant.
Yeah. I'm better in German.
Why, and why? How come when you were explaining that,
Oh, don't
the
ask
word was you used the German word? Like, why is that?
The German word,
Yeah.
Zunguru.
Yeah.
It's just the term that they use to explain that migratory restlessness, and so it's almost like you see your alarm clock and you know you're late for something, so you got to get going, and there's a hormonal change in.
I think we can also all agree that German is a beautiful language.
Oh, okay. That's probably why.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I want to get back to the ecology part of it,
Sure.
for sure. But I want to back up just a little bit. You're a young birder. This youth movement is something that we have been recognizing, right? It's one of the reasons why I was thrilled to have you on the show. And also, your first name is Nate, and that's easily articulated by my friend Lorenzo. We're looking for a lot of people with one-syllable names, so you nailed that. So
Awesome.
thank you. Yeah,
Thank you.
It's good for the show.
Well, say thanks to my parents for that.
You got, and we will. But so the daily activity of this for you, how you plug in, how do you connect with people to do it? What does the social interaction look like?
The social interaction with birding is really great. As a young birder, I was trained by a lot of great mentors throughout my life on just kind of how to be a better birder, and also just how to connect with people on a personal level involving birds. And so places and entities like Black Swamp Bird Observatory and the Ohio Young Birders Club, they are outstanding for bringing people together.
Sure.
Especially through the biggest week in American birding, which is the annual festival. The Ohio Young Birders Club has an annual conference every November.
And what's discussed at those things? Is it what you've seen that year, other things in the forefront? Obviously, I'm sure there's a conservation message there, but what are those? What is the information being passed in those?
It's really an array of things all brought to one stage. So we have birders ranging from 12 years old to 18-year-olds giving presentations on these stages in front of, almost 100 or so people.
Wow.
Probably more than that.
Sure.
And so some people will talk about their projects at home on their properties.
Yeah.
Others will discuss a trip they had, and others will talk about their experiences as a young birder.
Sure.
And so it's really amazing to see all these different perspectives from these younger birders coming together in one conference.
Yeah.
And the thing about this club is most of the adults will facilitate the activities, but they're all either guided or chosen by the young birders. So it's really cool to see these clubs really build up that confidence in these young birders.
So a year of birding, are you logging things that you've seen and where, or how do you? What is the passage of time? I mean, you're not the concept obviously is interacting with nature, and there's an intrinsic value to many components of it. But what's the collection part of this hobby for you?
There's a few different ways to go about this.
Yeah.
A lot of it is, of course, you want to see as many species as you can.
Sure.
And so there's these outlets like eBird, which is a global database on where you can submit your bird sightings, and you can check eBird to see when birds are seen, how they're seen in other ways like that. And so most birders do use outlets like that.
Sure.
And also there's the personal aspect of birding, just getting to be outside and experiencing migration or breeding season in the oak openings. It's really something to behold, just drawing yourself back to nature and making it your own personal experience.
What's your biggest find?
My biggest find?
I mean, the one originally with your grandfather, that's a experience that you'll have forever. But is there another one that resonates with you? Like, what a rarity, or something you've experienced that is like the showstopper?
Well, I've discovered last May.
You could just lie through your teeth right now.
I had a flamingo in my yard.
This show gets better.
That would be crazy. But
thank you for quantifying. First of all, you two morons, that's a joke. That would be crazy. Oh, flamingo, right? Yeah.
I had this spring at Maumee Bay State Park. I had a bird called the Bell's Vireo.
Okay.
It's it's typically a plains western species it's a small bird, almost kind of like a warbler, but a little thicker bill and legs and in proportions overall. And I believe that was one of 2 or 3 seen in Ohio this year.
Wow.
And so it was really great to post that on eBird and the Rare Bird Alerts on Facebook, and just to see all the reports of people going to see it, which was really spectacular. There's another time where I was guiding a tour at Oak Openings for the biggest week in American birding. I believe it was 2018, and we found a Kirtland's warbler.
Okay.
And the Kirtland's warbler, for anybody who doesn't know,
it's from Costco.
Kirtland's, not Kirkland's.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
No, but the thing about them is, well, you really can't buy them in bulk because there's only about 5,000 individuals left.
See what you did there?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. He's flown right in.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Costco. It's great.
That's one of our sponsors.
Good, but
well, it wasn't until this show.
Oh, okay. Well, think about.
We really need you not to have killed this bird, Nate.
Trust me, I didn't. I saw it for 5 seconds and it flew away. I'm just happy other people got to see
That's
it.
That's my man. Of course, we knew you'd be in good faith. Go ahead.
But these Kirtland's warblers, they're really habitat specific. So they breed exclusively in jack pine forests.
Okay.
Up in places in northern Michigan, scattered places in western Ontario and Wisconsin.
Okay.
And so 2 or 3 are seen each year during the biggest week, and I was lucky to find one that year. Yeah, it was spectacular.
Can I ask you a question? Did you know it when you saw it, or you see this thing and you start fumbling through?
I couldn't believe what I was seeing at first.
But you identified it?
I did. Yeah.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah.
How do you do this? We had a conversation with Alex, who's a natural videographer, and I was curious when he went on an expedition, really, and they're looking for unidentified fish species in a certain depth of water. And I was curious as to, I mean, you see, tens of millions of these things. How do you know what it is you're seeing? And in real time, how do you find out? How do you identify these?
Well, there's a lot of different ways you can go about this. I was fortunate. I started kind of studying these birds when I was younger, and so I kind of had a basis of what to look for. But the thing about these warblers is you are right with the diversity standpoint. There are 36 different species of warblers that pass through here annually.
Yeah.
And the thing about the Kirtland's warbler is, unlike other warblers, it's a tad larger, so maybe about an inch or so.
Sure.
It's got a slate blue-gray back, and it's got this really bright yellow breast with streaking. The males have these bright white eye arcs around their eyes.
Yeah.
And what got my attention with this bird, because a lot of birds kind of look like that from a distance, but it was kind of pumping its tail up and down. And Kirtland's warblers are known to do that a bit. So
the amount of information that you have to retain to do this is staggering to me.
I mean, that was one bird.
Yeah.
And
I mean, assuming he's telling the truth.
Just go through. Yeah, there is a lot of line in bird that we found out.
And also, can you give me a little idea? And I know there's some real variance here, Nate, so this is potentially an unfair question. But the average distance that you're observing these from is what? Are we talking about hundreds of yards? It's a tree that you're looking up into. Can you give me a little bit of perspective from your experience in that space?
It really all depends on the species and the family of birds that you're watching. For instance,
just answer the damn question.
Oh, I'm trying. No, but you're right. It is pretty variable. If you're out looking for ducks in the winter along Maumee Bay, they're going to be hundreds of yards out.
Sure.
So you'll need a spotting scope. But birds like these warblers, especially along the McGee Marsh Boardwalk, where these birds, they're literally dripping from the trees. I've had cases where I could have literally grabbed a black-throated green warbler that was right along the boardwalk.
Yeah.
And so it really does depend. A lot of these songbirds, when they're migrating, their number one goal is just to feed.
Sure.
They have to refuel and double their body weight before they go over Lake Erie into Canada.
Sounds like a weekend with Lorenzo. That's true.
Come on. I'm working on it.
That's interesting information to me. Although obviously I've been around birding now from a career standpoint for 4 years, and I'm aware of it in still photography. But I guess one of the reasons why I was asking was just the amount of nuance to these or details between identification. You're mentioning like a flutter of a tail. Like, oh my gosh, that takes, first of all, the amount of discipline to be looking for an elongated period of time, but also looking for all these small indicators is that this is one to, because with this many species, there has to be little things that make them separate or different.
Yeah,
right?
there are. Yeah, but the thing about it, like these bigger bigger groups of species, it's really important to kind of understand them from a broad scale and then kind of whittle it down. So you can understand about the warblers. Okay, they're small, they're migratory. Here's the ones that kind of look yellowish. Here's the ones that have more blue. And then if you just kind of categorize them,
then you start making decisions based on whether the knowns are.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you can get into characteristics and how they act. Like, for instance, Kirtland's warblers, sometimes they'll pump their tail.
Yeah.
Palm warblers are always pumping their tail.
So and I mean this in an earnest fashion. So what is the hobby? You're out in the field doing it. That part I totally understand. But dedicating research into the space, are you home, kind of sifting through websites and things like that to keep information fresh, discovery? Like, what is, I guess I don't know how to ask this other than what is a weekend like with Nate birding, but I'm curious honestly about this space. Like, how do you're obviously rabid for information, which I find fascinating, and also I'm appreciative of the intellect it would take to retain this. But what kind of time are we dedicating to this for you to be this avid of a birder?
It all really depends. For me, as a birder, you're never really not birding. Even if you don't have binoculars, you can always note, the cardinals flying over your backyard, or a red-tailed hawk along the highway. But it all really depends on how passionate you are, and there's a lot of great outlets for getting that.
Okay.
I'm on Facebook, and there's a lot of outstanding birders out there who are always sharing their sightings and posting things about new journals that have been published by the American Ornithologist Society.
And you would thumb through those, or you have them with you when you're doing your thing?
It
depends.
Well, it all does depend. Sometimes it can be hard to sit down and read a whole.
I would imagine
story. But
no, I mean, honestly, I'm not being flippant there.
But there's a lot of ways to go about it. You can really get scientific with how these birds, kind of function, and you can also be more observational by just going birding.
I like the idea, though, and I think you said it well. I'm never not birding, which is something that was reiterated. We had Joe Fosnaugh and Steve Stockford on, and they're like birding buddies, right? And that is, they always have their binoculars with them, and they're always looking, right? Or certainly always aware of the presence of it.
It's kind of dangerous when you're driving, but
Yeah, well, this isn't a safety show, so feel free to. I mean, people don't listen just for like tips. It's not a public service announcement, buddy. So back into the environmental component of it. Now, I know that you've been absorbing some of this through osmosis, but you've now. It sounds like you're planning on dedicating your life to restoration and taking care of these creatures that have become a larger part of your life. Tell me a little bit about that. Has that always been sort of natural science was always in your wheelhouse, or when did you start making these decisions in this way?
Well, I must admit I was at a bit of an advantage. I always kind of knew I wanted to do something with birds.
Okay.
Exactly what with birds, I still don't exactly know.
Sure, that's fair. I
love getting to get involved with different aspects of ecology, like restoration. I've had some great mentors at the University of Toledo really teach me about how everything is connected, which is one of the 4 laws of ecology. Everything in nature is connected. So from the soil that we have to the plants, to the trees, to the birds, to the other mammals and insects, it really is all connected. And so you have to understand that it's important to not just contain one aspect of your ecosystem. You have to contain the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think Metroparks has done a great job with that, and I'm excited to get involved with them in that regard this summer.
It's thrilling to me, and I don't mean this to sound patronizing or trite, but it's thrilling to me that we are attracting people like yourself, and Lorenzo as well, who's new to us, that giving back. Lorenzo, I don't know that your interest necessarily is in birding, although your family does fish. There's an activation and connection that is important to you, and you're both new, and at some degree I am as well, right? I only have 4 years in, but the fact that this is still tried and true, you are the next generation. They're stewards of this, Nate. There's no two ways around it, whether it's here in Northwest Ohio or wherever you decide to lay claim to being home. But that's thrilling and affirming that this is going to be handed off in good hands. Mm-hmm. And projects like Howard Marsh show that we can still do the work. 90% of those wetlands are gone, as you know, so it is going to be a long long road back to the degree that we get back. But the young people being engaged in the space is certainly inspiring, and not that dissimilar, right, to other things that we do. This is more of a transaction between birding and ecology, but this is the same reason we build tree houses and mountain bike courses, and we offer kayaking, because we want to dupe people into caring about the ecosystem in Northwest Ohio that we're so lucky to embrace.
It's all about education and getting people outside.
It's about experiences, right? So we've talked about this before. The only place I can still visit my grandparents is in this park, right, and the memories of them, and that's really important to me.
Right.
And you've got many great memories as well. So, Nate, a couple more questions for you before we let you off the hot seat here, and it also gives Linda and I time to Google some of the things you said. Do you go to equipment? I don't know this to be true, but you're a young man, so I assume you're not independently wealthy.
That is true.
So what is your go-to equipment? Your first pair of binoculars was gifted to you. Give me a little bit of the oral history of Nate and his gear.
First pair of binoculars were a pair of, they were, I think, 10 by 42 Tascos,
okay.
Which I got, I believe it was Christmas of 2009.
Oh, all right.
And I still have those somewhere.
2009, you were how old?
I was 9.
Okay.
So that's what's nice about being born in 2000. You can always
do the math. Yeah. Real nod to science. Boy, we're in great shape with this bozo.
After that long, I'm glad you're here. We're gonna hand this off, and now you're calling him a bozo.
Yeah. Well, he got the 9 after for 2000. Okay. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, admittedly, I'm not that great at math. So.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, you found good company here, man. Yeah. Please go ahead. This is great.
Yeah. So Tasco binoculars were my first pair, and then I
binoculars. So there's 2 buys.
Yeah, there's
binoculars.
Two binoculars. There's also the monocular, which is just one of these. As I'm holding a pair of binoculars in my hand.
That is such a funny thing to say, and I can't remember who said it. We were in a meeting here, and they said, "Well, we'll just get some binoculars," and I'd never heard that before. And I said, "There's no such thing as a binocular." And they're like, "Yeah, of course there is." And this is going to really display my ignorance, but I was absolutely hell bent on finding out that these people were wrong. And of course, as you both know, I've never heard that in my life. So forgive me.
No, that's okay. Yeah,
we'll edit that part out.
No, we're good. I like it.
Of course, whenever I'm wrong, you love it. You revel in it. Yeah.
So yeah, binoculars. Got those when I was 9, and I upgraded, I believe, once more with a pair of Eagle Optic Shrike binoculars, which were about $100 pair when I was, I think, 13 or so.
That's real money.
Yeah, and I was given these binoculars here by Rich Moncrief of Zeiss Optics. A couple years ago during the biggest week in American birding, and that's just another example of how gracious these birders can be.
It's a community.
It is a community, and they're doing an outstanding job of growing that to the younger generations and different demographics throughout the United States and the world abroad. So, but yeah, binoculars. These are a pair of Zeiss Terras I'm holding right now. They're awesome.
Saying that out loud is helpful for a radio program.
Say again.
You've said that several times. We do have cameras on.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It was just funny to me.
I know.
Yeah. So, these are all binoculars.
Yeah.
So go right ahead.
But spotting scope is also pretty important too if you want to look at birds.
That's a little more sophisticated than we've heard so far.
It can be. Yeah.
So these are. I'm sure there's a range, but it sounds expensive. I don't know why.
It can be. I bought my spotting scope, I believe, in 7th grade, and it still works pretty well. I believe it was around $400 at the time, so I saved up for that.
Yeah, my man. Good for you.
So,
doing what? Out of curiosity, what did Nate do to throw the money in his piggy bank? What was your first job?
Well, I love mowing the lawn.
Yeah, but you do.
I do that.
Yeah, okay.
There's a couple other things that I can remember, so birthdays and stuff.
Crime related, you don't want to talk about it out loud, that's fine. Right, no, we want to protect you. I get it. Yeah. But a little hard to pin down on that, Nate. We're picking up on that. It's fine. Mowing the lawn, that's all the more you guys need to know. That's it. A period. Okay. Good for you. I like the idea that you're also buying your own gear, right?
Yeah.
This was other than the one that was gifted to you, which is also a great story. So.
Right. Yeah. The birding community's just been so awesome to me, and I'd love to give back in some fashion. It's really amazing how a whole group of people can really influence just one person. And,
well said.
And now here I am. So thanks to those people, I'm on the podcast today. And
yeah. Well, don't blame them for that. I mean, they tried to steer you in the right direction. Nate, we ask our guests. Well, we have our top 3, which I'm sure you've heard because you're an avid listener, and don't say that you're not because it hurts our feelings. But we'd like to ask you a couple of those questions if you don't mind.
Sure.
I know that we didn't prep you for this, so that will lend to being a little on the spot. Do you have a favorite outdoor-related movie?
Well, one movie that sticks with all birders is called The Big Year with Jack Black and Owen Wilson. And
Owen Wilson, what happened to that guy?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a movie about Jack Black going around the country, seeing as many birds as he can in a single calendar year, and that's what birders call a big year. So there's these competitions each year goes based off the honor system, and whoever sees the most birds at the end of the year wins. So
I want to unpack this a little bit. So I was unfamiliar with this film. Maybe you've heard of it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you have?
I've never seen it, but I know I've heard of it.
Okay. So this is a real life thing that this is taken from?
Oh, yeah.
So
it was based on a real story.
And it's I want to touch on that quickly, but so these are annual competitions for the volume of birds you've seen?
Yes.
Different kinds of birds?
Yes. So people travel, they travel all throughout the American Birding Association's area, which is kind of the designated areas in which you can count these species.
Okay.
And people get up to 750 plus species just in the continental United States each year. It's
amazing.
Really spectacular.
Who is the owner of this? And I guess also, out of curiosity, what are the prizes? Is it one winner?
Yeah. Well, there's different categories, and I can't name all the categories off the top of my head.
Okay.
But there's different areas you can contribute to. Yeah. Some people only do a lower 48. Some people do
losers. That's what I call them. Your words.
They're not go-getters.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I get lower 48. I can do that today. Keep going. I'm sorry, Nate.
Oh no, that's fine. There's
we have very few people that come to visit us, so we're thrilled to have you. The competition you were saying, they have tiers.
Yeah, there's different levels you can go. There's different age groups and and
is this something that you've considered participating in or are?
You can do it on a local level. When I was younger, I would be very somewhat competitive with it, but now
that you've gotten up in years, you just don't have the energy anymore.
Well, I'm just happy to be outside and enjoying these birds.
My man.
Because sometimes when you're trying to count as many birds as you can, unless you're doing the competition, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're just going out to see a bird just to check it off your checklist, you're not really experiencing the bird.
It doesn't feel the same.
Right.
I
exactly.
understand.
So now I'll do a big day competition every so often now. Like the Toledo Naturalist Association, they have they call it the North Coast Open, which is a all-day birding event where you have to stay within the 5 counties within Northwest Ohio. And
how many people participate in this thing? You've participated?
I have. I've participated a couple times. Obviously not last year because of COVID.
Yeah, sure. And your shoulder injury. I
was going to say, what?
Yeah.
My shoulder out of line right now?
That's right, yes. Yeah,
yeah, but it's a really fun experience. So yeah,
sounds like it.
It is. You're on the go all day.
I bet.
During peak migration, you're finding.
And people are good natured though. It's not like this
Yeah.
cutthroat. They're not like, I don't know, slicing your tires to make sure you can't get to the next. But I mean that it's almost anything that's even remotely competitive can turn into.
It can be brutal out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but it's all fun.
It's community based.
It's community based.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, there's some little competitions, but it's all fun and games. It's nothing.
So what do you win? I'm curious. Like, what do you already wear the prizes? Perhaps
they do have a trophy.
Yeah. Please.
So
yes.
I was fortunate.
I want to know everything. Think about this.
It's called the Peregrine Cup.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was fortunate. I won it the last 2 years that we did it.
Nate, you didn't lead with that.
Oh my God!
That just shows the difference between me and this guy. That'd have been the first thing that I said when I sat in this chair.
The cameras.
I'd have brought it with me.
It wasn't. Well, I was on a team though. I was on a team. It wasn't just me. So there's.
I don't know, man.
This still doesn't. I would have brought that trophy with me today. I would have had that mounted on the hood of my car. So do you have it at your house?
I do not have it. I believe.
You had to give it to one of your teammates.
Yeah, I believe one of my teammates has it at the time.
All right.
Right now. So
you alternate.
I haven't seen it, but it's been well over.
Do you want to say the name of the person who has the trophy out loud right now to guilt them into giving it back?
I don't know who it is, to be honest.
Hey, were you on this team?
They might have given it back to the.
Have you seen my picture? I was with the Los Angeles Lakers last year. I mean, I don't have a picture with me and the team, but we were winning.
There, yeah.
Yeah.
Were you really?
It's for a different show. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's your movie. Zoe, do you have any questions for?
You're out in these parks all the time, and I'm assuming sometimes you get hungry. What kind of picnic food do you like?
Picnic food. This is kind of a tough one. I must admit, I'm not one to picnic much, but I do carry granola bars on me if I'm birding all day, so I just kind of snack along the way. And on the way home, I'll stop at McDonald's.
I mean, this isn't confined to like having to have a basket and like a red tablecloth here. So, what do you eat when you're outside?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't. Maybe we should level set this.
I guess it all kind of depends. Like I said, I love bringing a granola bar too on the way, and like peanut butter jelly sandwich just in the car if I'm on the go.
Yeah.
So, but then there's other times I'll stop at McDonald's on the way home. I don't really think that counts as outdoor food.
Yeah, right. And it stopped being interesting moments ago. So. But it's certainly honest. God bless you.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so the top 3 list. Let's ask him what's our top 3 question today?
Top 3 worst activities or games, outdoor activities or games.
Yeah, you want to weigh in on this, Nate? This will be hard for you because so far you've not said the one thing that's unkind or not exceptionally charming. So we need you to be negative here, Nate. So dig deep.
Oh, I don't.
Oh God.
I don't know. Well,
just try.
just say Google something negative on your phone and just read it.
Outdoor activities that are negative.
No.
They're just like the worst. Like you don't like to do it or you hate watching it.
The idea of participating in it is just totally ridiculous to you.
Yeah.
Oh.
What if you said birding?
Well, sometimes I do homework outside.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that.
Okay.
So that's probably it. If I had to say anything.
All right, we'll take it. Just a not sweet kid. Good Lord. Yeah. All right, Nate. Great to see you again, man. Great to have you back in the Metroparks family here, or at least shortly. We're lucky to have you. Anything else, though, before we send him back out to have a granola bar?
No.
Okay. They don't call him the best guy in the podcast for nothing. All right, buddy. Take care, Nate.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor.
Thanks. We'll be right back with our top 3 and a question from my mom.
All right, we are back. Nate, pretty infectious spirit there. Learned a lot. Great young man. So great part of the Metroparks team, and sounds like an integral part of the next round of bird enthusiasts.
Yeah, he is just like you said, the infectious attitude that he brought in here, and I know he's going to. Pearson now.
Yeah.
And like that they're going to get a great worker there just based on this conversation.
Yeah. And I know that we're going to eventually work for him. So we really should have sucked up a little bit more than we did. I think we could probably make clear that up in editing. Like you and I could just say, boy, that Nate was handsome. Right?
Yeah. It's going to stretch my abilities, but we'll try.
We're going to need it. Yeah. All right, buddy. And our downloads keep rising, so thank you all so much. Don't forget to rate us or send us any feedback, either questions you want answered or possible guests, although they're filling up rapidly. We are down to our top 3, which is quickly becoming one of our more popular segments here.
Amongst who? Us?
Yeah, fair. That's a good point. And some people ask us to stop doing it, but we don't listen to them.
No,
those are just our listeners. Yeah. So, our top 3 list. This has a little bit of a negative feel to it. I'm sorry for that. It's an odd way to roll into the spring, but it is our top 3 worst outdoor activities or games.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was harder than I thought. I like a lot of stuff outside.
Yeah, you're a nice guy. So I bet it is. It was not hard for me. I filled up just binders of this. Yeah. I put a new thing on the list every day. So today I put birding on after listening to that kid whine.
No, that made me want to go birding.
It did for me as well.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I think that the camaraderie that was, first of all, he talked about a community, but I think the buddy nature of Steve and Joe's interview was similar.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you and I are friends outside of work, and that's something I can see doing. Right. Just hanging out, and the birds are a backdrop to just spending time. So it was cool. The idea that we went into more information about competitions and things like that Friday, which I was just unaware of. I'm embarrassed to say.
A trophy?
Yeah, the Peregrine Cup. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's never seen it. They know his team never. That goes to show what level he must have been participant. They're like, you know what, Nate, we'll just get it to you when we see fit.
I think it's just that he's such a nice guy. Totally. That he's like, no, it's all right, guys.
It's a team win. I don't need it.
It's in my heart.
Yeah, right. And Rick, the team, everyone hates Rick on that team, and he kept it. Right,
way past his time.
That's right. Yeah, it's always about him.
Yeah,
that's right. That's not the spirit of the Peregrine Cup. I'll tell you that right now.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's right. Anyway, although it does feel like we're moving into the negative space here, our top three least favorite outdoor activities or games. I always cringe a little bit when I open up the umbrella of these to see what is rolling through your pea-sized head.
Well, no, my head has never been described as pea-sized.
Yeah, that's the thing. I wanted to say that because I don't know, people haven't seen us, right? And they don't know that your head has a senator.
Wait, okay.
So anyway, feel free to edit that out if you'd like. So your hat size is J. I got a million of them. But your top number 3 on your least favorite outdoor-related activity.
Number 3, rollerblading.
Sure. That just makes good sense to me.
I am or have been an athletic person.
Yes.
I cannot rollerblade, and part of me is like, I feel like I look really dumb doing it because I'm giant.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't like watching my kids rollerblade. It's terrifying.
I can totally relate. I also think all the equipment that you need, that's the thing. And I don't want to be dismissive of safety, right? This is a safety-first program.
If we're going back to the size of my head, I did not wear a helmet.
That was kind of where I was going to. Like, is that one of the fallbacks? Like, you'd have to have, like, a giant paper mache one to put over your...
Like, a big mascot?
Yeah, like the helmet that Muddy the Mudhead wears the bat.
Wait, a real quick story.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So 2 years ago, we had the opportunity to go hit baseballs and catch fly balls at Mudhead Stadium with Mateo's baseball team. And you had to wear a helmet.
Yeah.
And I had the tiniest helmet on my head. I will have to send you the picture.
Yeah,
but
please do. Yeah, we'll put it on Facebook. Yeah. Did you pass out after the blood was cut off from you?
I did not. After I just... hit those balls all the way outfield, I felt pretty good about myself anyway.
Let me ask you a quick question. You ever hit a ball out of a baseball stadium, out of a park? You ever hit a home run over the fence?
I have not.
Yeah, me neither. I hit off the fence once, which was a miracle. It was just
the wind. Really
it must have been like a gale force wind. Yeah, we had a scrimmage in the middle of Hurricane Andrew. All right, back to it. Number 3 is lawn darts. I don't know. We're about the same age. So I don't know if you remember this.
The dangerous.
It was so dangerous. What was the thinking here? You're essentially given javelins and you just threw them up in the air, right? And as we just discussed, the wind does a lot of the work here.
Yeah.
And who knows where those are going to land? I haven't seen a lot of those like pop back up. So somebody must have gotten the idea that this javelin toss into the cosmos is not for.
I have seen some where it is similar to tic-tac-toe, but they're inflatable and they have beans on the bottom, so they're not dangerous.
Yeah,
I can't imagine having those thrown at me.
Yeah, I don't need them to fix that problem for me. I need that not to be around. So that is, to me, that is just, I didn't get it then, I don't get it now. I can't. All right, that's my number 3. Your number 2.
Number 2 is watching any kids under the age of 6 play soccer.
Yeah, the old bumblebee.
Yes.
Yeah, that's tough.
Just everywhere. And the score is either 0-0 or 30-17.
Yeah, and they don't keep score, but the kids know, right? I mean, hey, remember these?
Well, I tell you lost today. I'll tell my kids. That's horrible.
It's a good parenting tip. Yeah. If you've been fishing that ball out of the back of the net out there, and some kids are like picking like flowers out of the ground too. It's I'll tell you another thing. Your mom forgets to bring those orange slices. Ugh. You are a pariah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was Cynthia's turn this week.
Yeah.
Where are they at?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. Did that happen to you?
Probably.
Yeah, it absolutely happened to me. I don't mind saying my mom doesn't listen to this, which is another show of her support. Right? But yeah, that's a black eye right there. The kids are just staring at you. I mean, it's not really halftime. You're not getting like tips on strategy, right? So they're just saying where the oranges.
Yeah. And you always have that super competitive kid who will keep track.
Like Rick, the Peregrine Cup winner.
Yeah. I mean, my daughter comes home from school and tells me how many hoops she made and she knows exactly. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we just have fun. Don't play, you know?
So I have kind of I hope what you'll find to be a funny story. So I ran into a person when I was out of town. I was like in Chicago when I was living there, and we both were talking, and we found out we were both from Toledo, and we ended up both playing TISA, which is Toledo Youth Soccer Association.
Okay.
And she said, yeah, I was on the red and white team. And I was like, yeah, we all were. The jerseys were reversible. But I was like, well, I was on the red and white team. Yeah. The whole league was.
80 of us.
That's right. It was an entire Division I football team. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was on that team, too. I was real low in the depth chart. So you probably didn't see me play because I was playing other teams when you were playing.
Yeah.
But she meant it. She wasn't kidding.
Yeah.
I was in red and white. I was like, yeah. Sure that you were.
Did you let her know? Like,
no, I didn't know what to do.
Okay.
But first, I wanted to think she was kidding.
Yeah,
because it would have been hilarious.
Yeah,
right. But she wasn't.
You had like a half smile. Like,
yeah,
come on.
Yeah, I just backed out of that conversation as fast as I could. So, and I was wearing my jersey too, still, which is embarrassing.
Oh man.
My number 2 is LARPing. Are you familiar with what this is?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So those of you who don't know, LARPing is live action role playing. It's live action role playing is the name of it. This is an acronym. So people wear costumes. Sometimes they're like bunnies, and sometimes they're like just other characters. Right? They can be dressed like Indiana Jones. Sure. It's certainly worth a Google.
Wizards.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, a lot of wizards in this space. Yeah. So they enact plots. They look for tokens. So LARPing to me is whatever you're into. I totally get it, but I just don't think that I'm into this thing.
Have you ever been asked to do that?
No.
Do you know anybody who's done it?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're not real close.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? To their credit. Yeah.
I think. I agree that I would never do it.
Okay.
I think I would go. I'm curious to go watch it.
Okay. I don't think it's a spectator-related event.
I know, but I would be there anyway.
I just want you to know, in terms of judgment, them doing it and you going there to watch it, I'm more judgmental of you watching it. I just want to frame this and be responsible.
But if there was like a professional LARPing league,
I think that there are.
Like I would, because then they're like the best at it, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, in theory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
That just interests me.
Yeah.
But I would never.
How it would be competitive is interesting, or the actions, because I think it's a game, like a role playing game. So I assume they're solving puzzles. There's plot.
Yeah, I don't know I guess how good of
we gotta get
LARPing they are.
We gotta get a LARPer on the show.
We're gonna
write that down. All right.
Yeah,
we're gonna get some negative press on this. I gotta shoot.
It's all right.
That's
right. Whatever gets the downloads.
That's right. Yeah, shooting for 1,000. Whatever gets us there. All right. So LARPing is my number 2.
Yeah.
I got it. I know that we're getting down to some real negative space here, which is uncomfortable to you based on your bizarre, kind nature. But I'll save it. Don't worry.
Okay.
Number 1, least favorite.
It's super popular, but
mine.
I don't understand it.
I wonder if it's gonna be the same.
Camping.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay. Yeah.
I.
Lot to unpack here.
I don't understand. Like I like. Bonfires.
Yep. Check.
Okay.
You like being outside?
Being outside.
Yeah,
yes.
I've seen you eat a s'more. Yeah, you do. That's totally true.
But I also enjoy all that stuff, and I get to go to my own bed at night.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. Now, when we're talking about camping, cabin camping, are you considering that something you don't care for? You want to be home at night?
So the closest I've ever been to this is when we stayed at Airbnb with no cell service.
Oh wow! I was just surprised you made it.
Yeah, and they had no cable.
Yeah. Oh my God. But with your whole family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can do that. They still had like a DVD player, and they
sure. I mean, you didn't have to talk. Thank God.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
But I want to be comfortable, and I just know it's uncomfortable to be camping in a tent on the ground. I think based on my outdoorsy attitude, I totally agree. But I don't mind camping if there's some structure that I'm like hiking to or getting to. Okay.
I don't want to put up a tent.
Yeah.
I'll sleep in a tent. I don't want to put it up or break it down or carry it some other place.
I would camp like. Have you ever seen Parks and Rec?
Yes.
How Aziz Ansari's character camped? And
No.
he basically had a giant, huge tent and ordered everything from Amazon and had all kinds of stuff in it.
Yeah, I'm certainly closer to that to the latter, but I'll work all day and eat whatever. That doesn't bother me, but I have to get to something that is constructed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, But I'm with you. I love being outside, as you know.
Yeah.
But those are I largely agree with what you just said.
Yeah.
My number one is bags or cornhole.
Cornhole?
Yeah. I do need to admit the fact that I'm terrible at this.
I was just going to ask you, is it because you're bad at it?
I'm bad at it.
Okay.
I don't know why. It's infuriating. I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why it's fun other than something to do to potentially also allow you to drink beer.
Yeah.
Which I'm not, knocking.
Yeah.
But yeah, God, I hate it.
That's I
like horseshoes.
I like cornhole. It's
Okay.
fun.
Yeah.
I'm also good at it.
Yeah. Okay.
My kids like to play with it. Now, I don't like when they say, "Dad, can you set this up?" Because I know it's going to last 5 minutes, and I just went through all this time.
Like everything else. Yeah. You just got done taking the tent down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've played it. I have my own set that I had somebody made me.
What's the set?
It's a University of Texas.
Yeah. What is your love for Texas? Your family's from there.
My family's from there. My grandma liked University of Texas.
Okay.
She would buy me things. My dad, and I think that's where because I liked all my teams that my dad liked. Except now he likes Ohio State, but he didn't like football or any college sport until I got older. So I was
okay.
So, but yeah, I like Texas.
Your dad's and you guys are Cowboys fans, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really enjoy it. Like I said, I have a set, but we played it when I lived down in Bowling Green with my friends. We played it all the time.
Yeah.
It's just,
okay.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I'm saying because I love you and I appreciate what you're saying, but I'm not saying like I'm condoning this. I think this is
so. If you're at a party and I say, Matt, you want to come throw some bags?
I mean, the answer is yeah, right? But I won't be enjoying it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm not in like this experience right now. Yeah, no, I don't care for it. I just don't. I hate it.
Yeah.
And I'm also don't appear to be getting any better. Not that I'm playing consistently, but I like horseshoes.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't know what the two different thing. I don't know what the difference is between the two.
You just like throwing shoes that animals wear, I guess.
It must be. That's it. You get there.
Then bags filled with food that they eat.
Yeah, boy, look, you really diced it down to the look at that.
I rendered you speechless.
That's right. Yeah, finally, people's wishes have been granted. I do occasionally watch that Johnsonville Brought Championship Series. That's Johnsonville, right?
Yeah.
So
I watched that too.
Yeah, of course.
And sometimes they're horrible on there. I'm like, how are these guys?
That's kind of a binary state, though, right? I mean, it is either you're doing it, either it's going in the hole or not.
Yeah.
The in between is confusing to me, not unlike professional bowling.
I just think if you're wearing shirts that look like you're driving NASCARs, you should put them in the hole every time.
I do want to be involved in that like marketing conversation for Johnsonville.
Yeah.
And like, well, we have all this leftover money. Where do you think we should? I mean, where should these advertising dollars go? I'm like, well, I like cornhole. I do too. What do you think we could be paid to be athletes? I think that we could. I mean, I just want to know how that synergy came down the pipe.
Well, athlete is a strong term.
It is very generous here.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can do it and I can't. So there's something there.
Yeah.
Right. I just don't get it.
That's all right, man.
That's all right. So that's it. So in order, lawn darts for me, yours is rollerblading.
Mm-hmm.
2 is camping for you. Mine was
the watching kids play soccer.
Watching kids play soccer.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I've already blacked that out because I hate it too. Mine is LARPing. Please Google that.
Yes.
And we promise you we'll be getting a LARPing expert, enthusiast. We've got to get a LARPer in here. That's our commitment to our listeners.
Yes.
And my number 1 is bags, and yours is camping. That's my kind of there.
Yeah.
I get it, man. I think this is a great list. Of other leisure things to do. Not really informative, admittedly, but we wanted to spread that cheer around.
Yeah.
So feel free to populate our website. We're going to post this. And when they do, tell us what your least favorite outdoor skills are, and we'll make sure we have programs wrapped around them.
Yes. All right, Matt. Well, another episode.
Another one down, right?
Yeah.
Number 16 in my book, number 17 in yours.
Well, okay.
Again, great interview with Nate. Great to see you again, man.
Yeah.
And the sun is out, and we got a good weekend for looks like the next few weekends coming up. So enjoy the parks, guys.
Yep. Get everything you need to know about the Metroparks can be found at the website, metroparkstoledo.com. This has been the Metroparks Podcast. Get outside yourself.
see a tail sticking out there.
Oh yeah, it just turned, looking at us.
Yep. Looks like a red tail.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
I knew I drove back in here for a reason.
Good job.
A project that has been around for over 15 years in the Oak Openings region of Ohio, Metroparks Toledo's Raptor survey is a great opportunity for volunteers to be involved in the scientific side of the parks and to get to see some amazing wildlife while they're at it. Raptors are important birds to have in the area. Being a predator species, they help maintain a balance in our local ecosystems. Through this program, Metroparks Toledo can learn what habitats raptor species in the Oak Openings region use. This information helps staff make informed decisions about restoration in the parks. If you want to learn more about the Raptor Survey program and how you can get involved, contact Metroparks Toledo Volunteer Services.